afternoon, iScreamers. Welcome back. We are back on the air. This is the brand new iScreemZ podcast. Yeah, I know we've been away for a while. I get it. You're probably mad, but we're back. It's your lucky Limey here, Mr. Limes, with Mr. Cool J himself, Lawrence E. Gibbs. Lawrence, say hi to the iScreamers out there, buddy.
Hi, Screamers. How the hell are you? We've missed you. Don't ever leave us for that long again.
Yeah, you know
We
what?
can't be away from you that long.
Let's blame the audience.
I
Blame the
know.
audience.
I'm like, why not?
I'm all
Why
about
should
sharing
we?
responsibility.
Yeah. Why should we shoulder the blame? Why?
So today we're going to be talking about the Wolfman, a new version that just launched this weekend. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm going to advise you do not watch this video at this time because it's going to be full of spoilers. I got out and saw it Friday night. You got out and see it yesterday.
Yes.
Let's jump in. What were your initial thoughts, mate?
Well, you know what? For me, it was a really good reimagining, a very unique reimagining of the Wolfman. I really liked it. I liked the pace of it. I thought, again, coming from Winnell, Lee Winnell from Blumhouse, who did the Insidious franchise, freaking awesome franchise. I thought it was inventive. I liked how they took the story and just redid it from what we're used to from the past.
Were you completely sold on it?
I would say I would probably watch it again. Yes, I would watch it again on that one. It really kind of it grabbed me.
I got to tell you something, buddy. I'm on the fence.
Really, really.
Yeah, I'm still processing. Look,
Okay, all right.
you used the word reimagining, and that's that's the right word because this was not a remake, right?
No,
Going in a
totally
different
brand new. Yeah.
right, exactly. Going in, my first thoughts were okay. So listen, if you're gonna do a remake, reimagining, whichever way you want to do it of the
Yeah.
Wolfman, there's one thing that there's certain checkpoints. One thing that you've really got to do to me is you got to make sure that the central character, I mean, when you go back to the original Wolfman, Larry Talbot
Hmm.
was a beautiful human being,
Yeah.
cursed with
Wait,
this.
so you're saying Christopher Abbott is not a handsome man?
I'm not talking physicality, brother. All right? Yes, Christopher Abbott is sensationally beautiful. On a soul level, you've
Hmm.
got you can't make the central character evil because the original Wolfman is a tragedy, right?
Uh-huh.
But it's
Yeah,
one of the
yeah,
biggest tragedies in horror, right?
yeah.
So I like the fact that by shaking it up, okay, let's have this as a father of a family.
Hmm.
I love the relationship between him and his daughter. They really set
Yes.
that up. Right,
Yes.
right.
Yes.
They set that up well. I just felt like we didn't, and this is just my opinion, but I felt like we
Okay.
didn't really get a chance to get to know them. Like we see that they've got marital problems. We see mom thinks that the dad, like the daughter gravitates more to the dad. We see that
Yeah.
especially in single parent families, but I don't think, I just feel like they didn't really give us a lot of background on these people.
It was very fast paced. They moved it along in a very quick pace.
Yeah.
Um, they might have spent a little much on the back end, but it worked for me.
Maybe what threw me off was that I wasn't expecting it all to be set basically on one night.
I agree with you on that one. That's one thing that kind of hit me from the side as well. But again, they're retelling it. It's a brand new take on the
Sure.
Wolfman, so they had to kind of change it up. I thought if they elongated it too much, it might have convoluted the story. And I liked how it just stayed central to one area and the tenseness was just kind of continuous.
Yes. And you know what? I do like stories like, I mean, I know it's not horror, but Training Day. Denzel
Mhm.
Washington and Ethan Hawke. One of the things I love about that is that it takes place literally over the course of a day.
Yes.
So I'm not opposed to that. You know what I think it is? I felt like the transformation with him moved too quickly. And here's another thing.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and, and maybe this is just, I didn't even realize that he got injured at first. Like with the or whether I didn't even realize he was bit at first. When they had when the truck goes over the ravine, hits the
Spoiler.
trees, right, boom, boom. It wasn't blatant to me that he'd been bitten. I thought he'd injured himself on the window. I thought he'd cut himself on the window, right?
Yeah, and that's the funny thing, though. That's what he thought too, and that's what he said. He goes, "Oh, I must have cut myself on the window." The creature broke through the window,
Yeah. Yep.
slashed him on the arm. Now, you mentioned earlier when we first started this about let's talk about facial hair.
Okay.
The
I think
facial
I know.
hair.
I think I know where you're going to go here. But go on, go on, go on, go on.
Okay, that that to me was my main and I'm sorry, ice creamers. I'm sorry, I'm kind of a purist on this one. Growing up with the original Universal Wolfman with Lon Chaney Jr. and Claude Rains, of course, and then the remake with Sir Anthony Hopkins, Benicio del Toro, Emily Blunt, as well as Hugo Weaving. Who doesn't love Hugo Weaving? Who doesn't? Right?
Mr. Anderson.
That's right. And this is my contention with the newest iteration of Wolfman.
Go on.
I
Go
didn't
on.
like I didn't like the creature effects. I didn't like the makeup effects. I felt that that was a letdown.
Yeah.
It was a letdown for me. Now, again, you don't want a copycat, but at least give us something more that would look like a creature that is the Wolfman.
And you can see, right? And I get, listen, I'm with you all the way on this. We're definitely in agreement. And you could see that there was homages to Jack Pierce's
Yes,
makeup.
yes,
Like the way that they were doing they really emphasized the underbite on him
yes,
and the
yes,
teeth, which I'm watching, I'm like, all right, okay, yeah, I see what you're doing there. That's beautiful. But yeah, it did almost like it didn't follow through to the complete sort of, wolf human.
yeah,
I felt like it couldn't decide whether it wanted to be a werewolf movie
yeah,
or a Cronenberg-esque body horror, right? Because you kept seeing
yeah,
the things like the teeth coming out, and he's like
yeah,
gnawing his arm and stuff like that. And
yeah,
and and, and
yeah.
that threw me off a little bit. I'm like, okay, well, because you know what?
Okay.
I kept thinking of The Fly with Jeff Goldblum,
Yes, yes. Where
right?
no, totally. I mean, the makeup effects for me was like, okay, is he turning into wolf or is he suffering from leprosy? What gives on this one? For me, again, the remake with Benicio del Toro when Universal Horror was trying to revamp the Universal
Yep.
monsters, that the creature effect, the Wolfman effect for both him and Sir Anthony Hopkins was beautiful.
Top notch.
Absolutely beautiful. I loved it. And I was hoping that this would kind of at least be the same, maybe a little different for originality. Again, you don't want a copycat, but at least something to that effect. That to me was the Wolfman.
Right,
That
right.
that iteration was the Wolfman to me.
Plot twist, plot spoiler. Were you expecting two Wolfmen? Were you expecting that, or did that throw you off?
There would have to be because how else would you get infected?
But I guess what I'm alluding to is the fact
Uh-huh.
that in the original Wolfman, right,
Oh,
Larry
yeah,
Talbot gets bit by Bela Lugosi. Bela
yeah,
Lugosi's done and dead, and the rest of the movie is specifically about Larry Talbot. But
yes,
this one, and this was almost the threat was the other Wolfman, and you're seeing Christopher Abbott sort of
yeah.
doing that kind of Bruce Banner-esque sort of trying to keep on to his
Humanity.
his
Yes,
humanity
yes,
and protect his family. And he
yes.
doesn't really wolf out until like the third act.
Yeah.
But there's another thing right there.
Uh-huh.
With regard to that's another thing with regard to that.
Yes.
I was shocked, and this is I'm finding this in quite a few movies these days that they don't seem to pull off twists as well as they used to. Like I don't know about you,
Yeah.
but the minute the dad was missing and they're going out to the thing, to me, it was obvious that it was the dad that was the other
Yeah.
wolf man. But then
Yes.
they do that thing where you see the tattoo, and I heard people in the audiences go, "Oh," and I'm sitting there thinking, "Are you fucking serious? You really didn't realize that it was his dad? Like it
Yeah.
didn't come from
Yeah.
left field to me. Like, how did you feel about that?"
Well, no, I said the same. Well, when I saw that tattoo, I'm like, I knew it. It couldn't have been anybody else but the dad.
Dad,
It really
right?
couldn't. Yeah. And but
So
again, too, and that was a nod. That was a nod to the remake with Benicio del Toro and Sir Anthony Hopkins because it was the father who infected the son, and
right.
they went at it. That was a nod. So two nods to both previous Wolfmen.
Little nod to the original Wolfman, which probably nobody cares, but I liked it. I like we were talking about the Jack Pierce makeup. I love the fact
Yes.
they had on the Movil van. It was Pierce Movils or whatever. I'm like, oh, I see what you're doing there. I see what you did. I got you. But
No. Well, remember when we discussed Universal versus Hammer?
yep,
And again, growing up, we really didn't know any better. We were so engrossed. We were so fascinated. Oh my God, this is awesome. The Wolf Man and stuff like that, and Dracula. But as you get older, you think back, and I think I mentioned that you see the Wolf Man and with the protruding bottom jaw and kind of the messed up teeth and
nah,
in some
nah,
ways.
nah, 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 nah. Now you got to keep talking like that for the rest of the.
Oh,
You
okay.
got.
I look at my dog and I'm like, wait a minute. Dogs are descended from wolves. They don't just have bottom fangs, they have top fangs too. That's
Top
why they're
thanks too.
called canines.
Yep.
So again, and that's one thing I loved with the remake from before, where it was fangs, and not just the bottom messed up ones that look like bad dentistry.
Well, that creature was fun. I mean, regardless of where anyone sits on the actual movie itself, there's no denying that was a that's what you call a werewolf. And you know what? This brings me to something else. I am sick and tired of and I guess this is one thing that I did appreciate again about Wolfman. I'm sick and tired of how in recent years, um, supernatural romantic fiction or whatever you call it has got
Yes.
a lot to answer for. Like they every time they've been depicting werewolves in the last few years, it's a man and then usually a handsome man with rippling muscles and
Yeah.
oh my god. And then he turns into basically a wolf. That is not a werewolf to me. A
No.
werewolf is
No.
is somewhere in between the two,
Yes,
right?
exactly. The ones that did it right, again, with Benicio del Toro and Sir Anthony Hopkins, that for the Wolfman, for werewolves, likens Underworld.
God. Yeah, those are yeah, those are savage, the things in that.
Oh
That
God, that was the epitome of what a true lichen werewolf is, where walks on, bipedal, but is
bipedal,
huge,
right?
hulking a beast with the facial structure of a wolf, but the hybrid.
Yeah.
That to me was a true werewolf lichen.
You know what? Actually, something this is I want to get your thoughts on this. Something I actually did think was super cool in
Mm-hmm.
the I like the way that they were doing the camera rotating from him to his
Yes,
wife and back, and they're showing you his vision and his
yes,
hearing changing, like the
yes,
points where he couldn't. You'd hear Julia Garner speaking, and then it would go around to him, and he can't fathom like it's coming out like garbled. What they're like, he's hearing it as like an animal. He's starting to become an animal. So I like that. And that another scene. with the same kind of thing, which alluded to his super hearing that's coming in. When
Yes.
he's hearing the noise upstairs, right? And you think it's, oh my God, it's a creature got in the
Yeah,
house.
yeah,
But you're hearing that bang, 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 bang. And then he opens the closet
yeah,
and it's a bloody spider walking up. But he's just hearing it in such an amplified way. That was cool.
yeah,
That was cool. I didn't see that coming and I like that.
yeah.
So,
No, yeah, no,
go.
no, totally agree on that, and I'm glad that we went there. The visual effects for his perspective and the audio effects, I thought was wonderfully done, and
Yeah.
that was again another unique take that they did with this. And in the beginning, the text intro of of how the legend began, and
Oh,
again,
the
it
high
takes
curve.
place, yeah, it takes place in Oregon, which
Yep.
was beautiful in the beautiful forest mountain settings, which was absolutely gorgeous, beautiful scenic backdrop for the story, and the legend that the werewolf or wolfman came from, which would have been the native cultures. So I loved how they integrated that in for, again, the more original retelling of the story.
With that, I mean, when you go into, sort of Native Americans, First Nations,
Mm-hmm.
uh, people, yeah, they have what they call skinwalkers and
Yeah.
legends of things, right? So yeah, so there's a strong, there's definitely a strong sort of background there. 1 to 10, what would you give the movie out of 1 to 10?
I would say I enjoyed it enough where I would give it no less than a 7.5.
7.5.
I would say probably a stronger towards an 8 on it. The
Okay.
again, the only disappointment for me, really, the only disappointment for me was the makeup, the creature
Did you
effects. That was the only disappointment. And but I do agree with you too that it was perhaps too fast of a pace. It could have been elongated, but again, I think they did want to rehash that formula. I think they wanted to do something that was so just boom, boom, boom. The pacing. Let's just get it done. Let's show you the drama. Let's show you how this unfolds in one setting and not elongate it with the previous ones where the transformation is slow. He notices it gradually, and then all of a sudden, bam, goes on the rampage, and then blah 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 blah.
Yeah. What about scare factor? Did you find it creepy? Like, what?
I mean enough where it was enjoyable, where something would happen, I'd be like, oh, that was cool,
Okay.
and it was suspense enough. So okay, when he picked up his friend, his childhood friend that recognized him, he didn't quite recognize him, and they were traveling, and just how he was reacting and his mannerism and how he came across and the wife was kind of freaked out by him and stuff like that. When he turned around, you might have had a suspicion, but you knew it would be too obvious. You know what popped into my head?
Go on.
Twilight Zone, the movie with Dan Aykroyd, and oh my God,
Oh,
and Albert
Albert
Brooks,
Brooks.
where he goes,
Want to see
where he has
something
a turn.
really scary?
Exactly, dude, that popped in my head. I thought that would have been so funny.
Oh God, that yeah, that oh, you now you're bringing up something else that we're gonna have to do. Oh yeah, we're gonna have to get into another time. Yeah, that's iconic. That scene in the car, right? Funny, I never thought that, but now that you say it,
Yeah,
I can see it.
yeah,
Right?
because they were both in the cab. They're both kind of looking at each other. And again, the look on his friend's face, already having that creep factor, like, is this guy kind of off or not? I just pictured those two again, Albert Brooks and Dan Aykroyd, right there in the cab, facing each other. Yeah,
So same writing directing team has now they've given us the Invisible Man, which I really like. That's a topic for another time, but the remake of the Invisible Man, I really like that. Now they've given us the Wolf Man. How do you feel about maybe them having a stab at the creature from the Black Lagoon?
no one's done it yet.
Right.
Why not? Why is it taking this long to do it?
And it's weird because John Carpenter was attached to it for a long time, was attached to a remake of The Creature from the Black Lagoon, and it never materialized. And I think that I have a feeling, I need to double check my facts, but I think that that died on the table after the failure of The Thing, which was a ridiculous failure because we
Wait
all
a
know
minute.
brilliant
You
movie
and I
that.
both know the thing wasn't a failure.
No. I'm talking box office, right?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, okay,
Nine,
fair enough.
19. No. I would never. I think The Thing is absolutely one of the best, not just one of the best sci-fi horrors, but one of the
Yeah,
best movies ever made. But it was, along with Blade Runner, it was that classic 1-2 of box office bombs in 1982 that people came back to, critics later, and were like, hang on, we got that wrong. We screwed up.
totally, totally. A cult classic that has lasted for how many years now?
Yeah,
What,
absolutely.
30 something years? And people, just like you and I, people still talk about it. It is one of the most influential sci-fi creature feature movies in the longest time. And who better? John Carpenter did a phenomenal job, absolutely phenomenal. And I did not know that he was attached to what possibly could have been another creature from Black Lagoon. Who better to do it than John
He would have
Carpenter?
been. He would have been amazing.
It has to be done right, or else
Yeah.
it's gonna emotionally scar us because we love the creature from the Black Lagoon from our childhood. So it has to be done right. Let's have somebody take the reins, Lee Winnell and the right team here, and see what they can do, and hopefully do it justice.
Good stuff. Good stuff. I've really enjoyed shooting the shit with you about this today, brother.
Always,
Just for I hope for our viewers out there, I hope you enjoyed this. You will be now putting out a podcast bi-weekly.
yes,
Uh, so this once this the now you've watched this one, this is launched. We will bi-weekly every 2 weeks. We will be discussing something new. Looking at the week in horror, we're going to be talking to you about new things that are coming down the pipe, be they
yep.
shows, be they movies, and who knows, maybe we'll have a few surprise guests on.
This is going to be our weekly screams, bi-weekly at first, but it will be the weekly screams,
It's
all
going to
for
be
you, our ice screamers, because we love you. We hope you love us. They should love us, right? What's not to love about us?
Subscribe to the channel, like
Yeah,
the videos, and hit that notification button so you know when we're back up again. And we will be speaking with you again in 2 weeks' time.